It's an unfortunate thing about Dead Horse that once you get up there, once you fight through the mud and the slop and the slime and the muck, it's a dry town. You cannot buy a celebratory beer to save your life. There's no alcohol in that whole place. And so the next morning, we're talking to the riders from Turkey, and we're all like, yeah, screw this place. We need to get back to Coldfoot where we can get some beer. And that was the goal for the day, was like, we've got to get back to Coldfoot. We've got to get out of here as soon as possible. We're packing up the bikes. It's still raining, and the woman from Turkey, turns to me, and she's just smiling and sunny, and she's like, well, at least there's a strong wind from the west, so the rocks from the trucks won't be blowing back in our faces, at least we've got that. And there was a strong cold wind from the west the entire time, but at least the road wasn't as bad. It seemed like they had graded off the top layer of mud during the night. They do a pretty good job of maintaining the Dalton Highway, so it's really only if you're super lucky that you can hit it when it's definite mud and slop, because they get on it pretty well. On the way down, we saw caribou, 3 big caribou bucks with giant antlers, and a whole herd of muskox. James and I stopped to take a break, and I realized my chain is insanely loose. I go to get my tools to tighten it up, and the tool tube is completely gone. It's broken off somewhere on the great expanse of potholes, and it is lost to oblivion. So thankfully James has the tools I need on him, and I tighten the chain up. I put it on the tightest setting, but it's a really old chain. I realize it's the stock chain from 2005. All the O-rings are dried out, and so it's just stretched like crazy. Just crossing my fingers that it can get us back to Fairbanks, and first and foremost back to Coldfoot for some beer. We ride on for a while, and we come across a guy holding a stop sign, one of the wait for the pilot car guys, and we turn off our bikes and talk with him for a while, and it turns out he's ridden motorcycles all over Africa and South America back in the 70s, and he had some really awesome stories to tell. So that's my word of wisdom for people wanting an adventure, is talk to everyone. We ride past miles and miles of tundra, past Galbraith Lake, up and over Adigan Pass, and make it back to Coldfoot. We're drinking beer out on the patio and celebrating, and I'm waiting for our Turkish friends to come ride up and join us. And another guy comes up, pulls up on a big GS, and I ask him, if he passed a 650 and a Triumph Tiger on his way through. And he said, oh, they were still back there. They were having battery problems, but I think hopefully they got it started. Hopefully they'll be here in a while. And so we're just chit-chatting. I'm talking about how bad the road is, and I tell him, like, yeah, it's so bad my tool tube just broke right off. And he looks at me, he's like, oh, did it? He walks over to his side case, opens it up, and he had picked up all of my tools. He found them on the side of the road, and he's like, these are someone's tools. And he gave them back to me. I gave him a huge hug. Thanks, Kent. And it was a really, really awesome thing. Really cool that came around full circle for us. There were a couple other familiar faces there that I had met up in Prudhoe Bay. This chick, Laura A. Casey, and her violinist had come through, and they were busking for change out on the patio. And Laura's a really awesome musician and songwriter. You give her any topic, and she'll write a song about it. So here's a little clip.